Human Music Podcast.
I feel like producers take a lot of pride in like, I mixed and mastered this shit. And I understand that pride, but also like you have to take a step back sometimes. And if your main thing is, you know, I want to just be creative and generate ideas, then mixing and mastering and all that shit holds you back, like quite drastically, I would say. Like it does open up some doors, but I think having a knowledge in that and being involved still is like good. But like that's why people dedicate their lives to mixing and mastering and so on and so forth. But yeah, man, you see like Drake has like 20 producers a song and like 20 writers and all that shit. It really doesn't matter.
Yeah, you know who doesn't mix his own records? Bass Nectar.
Yeah.
He's got Seth Drake I write the shit, give it to the best engineer I know. And then Seth Drake gets to finish the record in an incredible way. Well, Bass Nectar goes and writes another hit.
This is a fantastic paradox, though, that I would love to dive into.
Yeah.
There are so many people that are at the top that do not mix or master their own records. You know, Armin van Buuren, many years of openly, everyone knows he writes the song, doesn't do a fucking thing to it, sends it to a mix and master engineer. You know, Tesko at this point probably doesn't even write his own shit. But there are so many people at the top of their field that don't even worry about mixing or mastering that, you know, at one point they were not there. Did they always have someone mix and master the records? I don't think so. I think they learned to do it themselves already, so that by the time it gets to a mixing and mastering engineer, now that they're good at what they're doing, all of the shit is gonna work. You haven't created a problem for someone. Like you see Seth Drake mixing these records where he's like doing these EQ boosts that like normally shouldn't work, or like, you know, just applying a philosophy to something that like, you know, not every track is going to work like that. You know, like these people have spent time making these records work originally, and then these people are taking it to the finish line without any huge hangups of like, this shit's just, these two sounds, they're just not going to play at the same time and sound good. You know, that fucking happens to me. That happens to you. That happens to you. Like that's not an issue that those super top dollar mixing engineers are dealing with, because these people had actually spent the time to get it right the first time before they got to the point where they could pay for all that. So it's unfortunate that it is sometimes assumed as an amateur producer that you can just pay someone to do it every time, and that's fine. Because I really still don't think you're going to get the result that a Bass Nectar does, because your shit is not planned out as well. You did not take the time to organize those layers in a way that they're going to be mixed together and sound good. The shit doesn't just fucking happen.
You got a really good point there, man. You know, looking back at records that I wrote before the dojo. Yeah. Before I was involved in the dojo, and I had, you know, been studying engineering a bit for a few years and getting a lot better, but still trash. Yeah. And then I realized like, oh, like I'm not going to be able to fix these records. Let me just throw them in the hard drive and write new records. Let me use the EDM cookbook. Let me use the arrangement exercise. Let me leave those alone. And then you come back 2 years later and you find that dusted off and you're like, oh yeah, this is why it wasn't working. Like, the better of an engineer I become, and the more I have to learn how to solve problems that I had caused, then I learned how to not create that problem in the composition.
Which is more important than knowing how to solve it.
I like it.